Hey up, Sofa Squad, and we are live and back with another edition of On the Sofa. And if you want to support the stream, you can, and your name will be added to the two names you can see scrolling along the bottom. And shout out to my two patrons, Greg, who's in the side chat, and African Humanist as well. And if you could also buy me a coffee, or you could buy my book, Surviving 2020, and all the links are in the description. Okay, we have Purple with us.
Hello.
And it's her half birthday today.
Yep, exactly 6 months from my birthday.
Yes. So happy half birthday. And you were telling me earlier, just now, that you were struggling with subs at the moment.
Well, my channel's been stuck around 550 subs for over 2 years. And it would just be nice if I could get up to 1,000 subs because YouTube unlocks some extra features when your channel has 1,000.
Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Store was saying, buy him a Cylon gun.
A Cylon gun, where did that come from?
That's in reference to my headphones, which usually glow when they're plugged in, but they don't seem to be glowing for some reason. But anyway, not that it matters. I can still hear you. You can still hear me. So,
yeah, mine do the flashy light thing, and I just find it annoying because then I've got the flashing lights in my peripheral the whole time.
Oh yeah,
I'm very sensitive to movement in my peripheral vision. I'm very keyed to that.
Yeah, I can imagine. But the thing is, I think most of my subscribers and I'll probably subscribe to you already.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that's my main problem. That most of the people I hang out with, we pretty much all have the same audience.
Yeah, there's always going to be an overlap, I think. But some people watching who watch this stream later on, after the event, as it were, are not. I've noticed from my analytics that I think it's 17% of them aren't actually subscribed, so they may not be subscribed to you either. So if you do Purple Solid. And
and I think maybe not all of your subscribers are mine because I was looking at my analytics and it says my channel is most watched between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. my time.
Yeah.
Which would be the morning your time. It'd be like between breakfast and lunch in the UK.
Yeah, good. Yeah, exactly. There's that as well. So yeah, subscribe to Purple. And anyways, on with the show. We've got quite a few things to talk about, actually.
What kind of insanity is your government doing this week?
Oh, too much. I think we'll start with Suella Braverman, since I feature her on the thumbnail. This is quite interesting. The Holocaust survivor confronts Suella Braverman on migrant invasion remarks. I am reminded of the language used to dehumanize and justify the murder of my family and millions of others. This is footage that got shared all around Twitter.
Yeah.
Where this Holocaust survivor confronted Suella Braverman on her choice of language. The article says this: Suella Braverman has been confronted by a Holocaust survivor over her claim that the UK is facing an invasion by asylum seekers. She also uses words like swarm. You know, she used that word as well, apparently. And the Home Secretary was told comments were reminiscent of the language used to dehumanize and justify the murder of my family and millions of others. But Suella Braverman doubled down. She doubled down, and she said that I'm not going to apologize for using words like invasion and swarm.
Weird.
Because we have a genuine, it's a real, because her justification for this was that she said that we have a real problem with immigration and it needs to be sorted. It is like an invasion. So she received a huge backlash on social media for this.
Yeah, well, the government needing to get its system in order is nothing like an invasion.
I don't know what the exact figures are, but compared to other countries in Europe, we're not taking on that many. But but they have to dog whistle to the racists and bigots whose votes they don't want to lose. And we've got Stool to add to the stream. Hello, Stool.
Hey, Stool.
Hello, Earth people. Hello, Earth people and purple.
Earth people, have you moved off the planet now?
Yes, Elon is taking me to Mars. He loves me.
Oh, we've got Stephanie as well.
Hey,
hello,
Steph.
Hello, Stephanie.
Hi, how are you? Hey, Stool. Purple.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad Stool's here. It'll be good to have another Brett to understand more what's going on over there.
Yeah.
I've been following your travails with dread. You were talking about Suella Braverman's ridiculousness. That's carry on, please.
Did you guys see the footage of this Holocaust survivor calling her out on her choice of language?
I did.
Mm-hmm. Somebody released video of this committee or this meeting, wherever it was, where the Holocaust survivor lady who's in her 80s says, and she's not being a dick or anything. She's polite and she says, "Look, I'm a Holocaust survivor. My parents weren't. I had to go from Belgium, blah, 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 ended up in the UK. The words you're using, they kind of make people think of the Holocaust. So can you just not do it?" Braverman refused point blank because she's baiting the racists. That's what she does. And this clip that was posted on Twitter, the Conservatives came along and said, "Well, that's not fair. It's been edited. It's out of context. Take it down." So the group that posted it said, "No, fuck off." And just for context, I think it was a day after James O'Brien played the clip that was posted, which is nasty, and then he played the unedited thing, and there's nothing out of context whatsoever. It was edited just for brevity, just
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and she's a very, very vile. My feelings on that picture, well known, and she's just like all of them, as Mike said. They're so desperate to stay in power that they have to bait the racists and appeal to that kind of person. So every day now we're hearing all these words about how we're being invaded. They're calling them invaders, a swarm, vermin, the usual. Yeah, it's not good.
Well, the saddest thing of all is that they seem to view this as the way to remain in power, to beat the racists and to and say, hey, all of you bigots out there, please lift us up, because if we go, those vermin will invade your shores. And it's pernicious as hell, really. It's just poisonous politics. And it's not just poisonous for you, it's poisonous for the whole world.
The problem is, though, these problems that we have with the asylum seekers and what have you, there is no other way for them to get here. There is no legal route whatsoever. And that's intentional. The government could fix this with a click of a finger, but they won't, because they need this situation so that all the racists get angry, and the racists think, oh, we'll keep voting for these people because they're going to fix it. But of course, they're not going to fix it.
No, of course not.
They have no intention of fixing it because it works well for them. It's a sick and twisted thing. It really is.
And Nerdy Rodent says this: Tory government, we've completely plundered the UK for the past 12 years, and now we've trashed the economy. We need to find somebody else to blame. Let's see. Who are the most powerless people?
They're doing the thing. Anybody who's over I understand how the young people don't understand this because they don't understand history, but they're literally playing from the original Nazis playbook. They're othering a group of people so that everybody hates those people and blames those people for everything that is wrong. And it's all 100% bullshit. The crap that the Daily Mail readers believe is just fucking, it's bizarre.
Well, and that's part of why over here the Republican plan is to make it illegal to teach history.
Yeah. And I just want to give a shout out to my friend Monica, who's just joined us. She's come over recently actually to stay with my ex and my two daughters. She's their auntie, and she's in the side. She's here in the side chat. So hi, Monica.
Does she have a nice hat?
Does she have a nice hat?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Probably, maybe.
Well, then she's okay.
If she's helping taking care of your kids, she's got to be okay.
Yeah. And Miriam too she's also there. She's another auntie. She's staying with them as well. So, yeah.
There was a lady. I don't know whether you caught it. It was a week or so ago on LBC, of course. And it was on one of the compilations, I think, from a while ago.
Yeah.
And you know how all these illegals get a free house and free money. And free phones and all the rest of the free stuff that we give them.
Allegedly.
Yeah. They also get free cars, would you believe?
Apparently so. But the truth is, asylum seekers, they don't get a lot.
They get nothing.
They get I think they get tokens that they can spend on groceries.
They get a special card that's like a debit card.
That's right.
And I think they get about £67 per week, £70 call it, so £10 per day. For our foreign friends, that's not a lot of money.
No. But apart from that, they have no recourse to public funds.
No, they don't. They can't claim benefits, and that's what the Daily Mail readers keep wanging on about. They're coming here for the benefits. They cannot claim benefits. They're not allowed to work, for fuck's sake.
No, they're not. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, it's much the same thing that people complain about, Hispanics flooding across the southern border. They spew the same bullshit here, and none of it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the other thing. Nerdy just said, they get to not die. Yeah. But the Daily Mail readers, they're so predictable. They only say the same things over and over again that they've been fed and indoctrinated with is, well, why don't they stay in France? Because apparently we can just say, fuck off, go to France.
Well, yeah,
But
somebody else's problem.
Mm.
but I don't want to stay in France. I've got my family's here in the UK. I can't speak
Also,
French.
there you go. I can't speak French, but I can speak English. But
Yeah.
that's just a minor technicality for the Daily Mail crowd.
Yes. Anyway, I've got this footage that's embedded in this article. If you, so I'll just play it real quick.
I am a child survivor of the Holocaust. In 1943, I was forced to flee my birthplace in Belgium and went across war-torn Europe and dangerous seas until I finally was able to come to the UK in 1947. Now, when I hear you using words against refugees like swarms and an invasion, I am reminded of the language used to dehumanize and justify the murder of my family and millions others. Why do you find the need to use that kind of language?
Thank you so much for your question. And let me just say this. I too share a huge amount of concern and sympathy and frustration about the challenge that we are facing. Personally, I too am, my parents were immigrants to this country. My father was kicked out of Kenya. He found refuge and security and opportunity in the United Kingdom at a time when it was very difficult. And my mother was not born in this country. She was recruited by the United Kingdom as a girl of 18 in Mauritius. And she came to work here as a nurse and served for 45 years for our health service. And my parents came here with nothing. They came here with nothing except gratitude and a desire to give themselves to Britain. And they owe everything to this country. And they have taught me a deep and profound love of Britain and British people. Their tolerance, their generosity, their decency, their fair play. And that also means that we mustn't shy away from saying there is a problem. And there is a huge problem that we have right now when it comes to illegal migration, the scale of which we have not known before. And I won't apologise for the language that I use to demonstrate the scale of the problem. I think that I see my job as being honest with the British people and honest for the British people. I'm not going to shy away from difficult truths, nor am I going to conceal what is the reality that we are all watching. I see myself as your voice in government, your voice around the cabinet table, your voice at the Home Office. And I listen and hear what people here in Fareham tell me. And I can.
Okay, I think we've heard enough of that. But you can watch the full clip on YouTube. So yeah, there she was doubling down, and what she didn't say was under the government rules, her parents wouldn't be allowed in this country. She would refuse them entry.
This is the classic sign of someone who, oh, now that I've climbed the ladder and got into the castle, let's pull the ladders up.
Yeah.
So no one else can do it. I mean, it's mind-boggling how people can reach that point and not see that, the benefits that she and her family received.
We have a few of those.
We have to make sure that nobody else gets them.
She's just one of a few of them.
Curious.
In the Conservative Party, you've got her, Raab, what's he called, Wazinski, Priti Patel. They're all children of immigrants, and they all hate immigrants. Yes. They have to, even if they don't actually hate immigrants, they have to pretend they do to appeal to the core Tory voter who's never seen a person with brown skin in their life, probably. You know,
And-
the elderly sort of, I don't mean offense, I'm not being ageist, but the people who are sort of in the 70s, 80s or whatever, who live down south in the nice little villages, and they've never seen a is that what they are? I can never understand that shit. And they've probably, I really don't. And they've probably never seen a person with brown skin in their life, but the Daily Mail and the Telegraph have told them that these people are invading, they're stealing our jobs and claiming all our benefits simultaneously, which is fucking magic.
Yeah.
And they're getting free houses and free cars and all this shit.
Yeah, that's
We
the
have to-
dual line here that I haven't been able to figure out. Is
Hmm.
they're saying that they're coming here to steal our jobs, and at the same time they're saying these people are too lazy and they don't work. So if
Yeah.
somebody's that lazy and they're stealing their job, what does that say about the job you were doing in the first place?
Well,
my country is obviously, we like to say we're a nation of immigrants, except for the people that were here first.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure, you know, maybe the natives of New England would have liked to have pulled said, no more of you all, please stay back in England, please, you know.
yeah.
And things might have been better, but every single through all of the history of America, there's always been a quote unquote nativism streak in our politics.
Yeah.
My ancestry is white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. No Irish need apply. Okay. As soon as those guys start coming, no, we don't want to, you know, Boston is the land of the Lowells and the Cabots, and we don't need the Callahans, you know.
That reminds me of
and
something.
the same thing in Texas. It's like, well, you know, we took away the state from Mexico, and we don't want no Mexicans coming in here. You know, it's just what the actual stuff.
When O'Brien was talking about this, most callers were saying, you know, okay, this is shit. She's doing the Nazi thing, for fuck's sake. You can't not see this. And I mean, it's so fucking obvious, is it not? And one idiot phoned in, this chap, and he was arguing, and he said, no, that the Nazis never said those things. He's literally arguing that the Nazis never said these things. And O'Brien is saying, look, this isn't an opinion, just Google it. It's a well-known fact. She's using the Nazi fucking way of using words.
Yeah.
And he was arguing and arguing and arguing. And O'Brien said to you, are you a Nazi? Just, you know, out of interest. And he said, no, I'm an Irish Catholic. And he didn't sort of clock that back in the 60s and the 70s,
Yeah.
England had signs in its windows saying, no blacks, no Irish, no dogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Irish were once invading us, in quotes.
Yeah.
Look at, you'll have seen it, Mike, that, you know, every now and again we see those archive front pages from the Daily Mail, which has been around for 125 years. They've been pumping this filth into people's minds for over 100 fucking years. And back in the 30s and 40s, the Jewish invasion.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
We've been invaded by the fucking Jews. What the fuck?
Yep. Well, yeah, they keep repeating the same script. They just, you know, change the name of which group they're up against.
Yeah. And of course, we know why. It's because the Tories are shit scared of losing votes, especially to the likes of the Reform Party and the Brexit Party, whatever it's called now.
UKIP or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway,
well,
watch this space.
I would think that the Conservatives would take a look at the Republican Party and see where that leads eventually. I mean, look at who is the insurgents. The insurrectionists are now in control of the House of Representatives because the so-called moderates within the Republican Party, they tried to ride the tiger. Now the tiger riding them. You know, you can't. You know, it's the old story. If you go to a rally and somebody is quoting Mein Kampf, you're at a Nazi rally. You know, you're going to be that's where you're at. And as moderate and as nice and polite as you might want to think of yourself, the day will come when, since you feel that's your base and you can't maintain power without them, they'll be the people with the power.
Yeah.
And that's what happened in Weimar. That's how Hitler came to power.
Yeah.
Oh, we can tolerate him because we can, you know, blah, blah, blah. No, you can't. No, you can't. Because these people are bent on one thing. You know, at least in the history of Germany proves that out. I think, you know, the Christian nationalist movement that's taken over the Republican Party and right-wing politics in America is proving out the same way. It's scary as fuck.
Yeah, it is. It is. And the thing that, what's the word? But we still potentially got 2 more years of these fuckers. So
yeah, and it's the chances are they'll win whenever we have our election.
Yeah,
there's more chance of them winning than anybody else.
It's because labor is worth shit right now. they're terrible.
It's not just that; it's because of our stupid system.
Fucking
We've got a really fucked up system, and I think at the last election, 2019, even though it was considered a landslide victory for the Conservatives, based on which they won because they and Johnson lied their fucking asses off to get elected.
Yeah.
They only
received. You expect them to lie.
Not like this. We've not seen shit like this before. I mean, it's worse. It's in some ways than it is in your country. They only got, I think it was about 30 or 35% of the vote in the election.
Yeah.
And yet that's a majority. They get a majority in the House because of that. And if you've got a majority in the House like they have, you can do whatever the fuck you want. And that's what they've been doing. And it gets worse. A lot of the things that they have done, are doing, and more scarily want to do, would scare the shit out of you. But most British people have no fucking idea what these people actually are. And it's not about skits, is it? It's not about left versus right or conservatives. These people that are in power now are not conservatives. That's a simple fact.
That's true. Yeah, they're not.
It was taken over. It was like a coup. And prominent Tory or ex-Tory MPs have said publicly this. John Major, for fuck's sake, who was in Mrs. Thatcher's fucking government. Yes. He succeeded her as Prime Minister, and he's on record. You can look at it. He said, these are not Conservatives. I cannot vote for them, and you cannot trust them with the NHS.
He said that,
Yeah, he was in Mrs. Thatcher's government, and he was a Conservative Prime Minister, for fuck's sake.
Who, by the way, was no peach.
No, he wasn't.
Even my brother, Tom, he considers himself as a conservative, with a small c, if you like. And he has said to me, these people are not conservatives.
They're not.
He hates these guys. He hates the Tories.
But where are people like your brother? Like with John Major, where are they going with this? I mean, it's all very well and good to do that, but the only way to stop this group is with some other group. The Lib Dems ain't it.
I'll tell you
can't
what
do
happened.
it. Labor is just, Keir Starmer's an idiot.
These people, if you ever ask these people,
sorry,
and they'll say, I like Mike's brother, they'll say, these are not Conservatives, I don't like them. Well, who are you going to vote for? Conservative. Why?
Right.
Well, I can't vote for Labour. Why? And then they'll repeat all the lies that they've been fed. And one of the very often repeated lie is, when Labour took over in when the Conservative took over from Labour in 2010, there was no money left. Labour had spent all the money. Complete bullshit.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's been debunked.
Yes.
it's not even worth debunking. What a stupid fucking thing to say.
Yeah,
They literally believe that we had no money and Labour had spent it all.
but
How dumb do you have to believe that? And yet they do, because the Daily Mail has told them that.
the problem with Labour, in my opinion, is that they're so desperate to win back the so-called red wall voters that they lost in 2019 that they daren't, do anything or say anything to upset them, and so they're in a position where they're just so bland and vanilla, and they're Keir Starmer has put himself in a position where he has to put as much distance as he can between him and Corbyn. So he was asked a question: who would you rather sit next to, Piers Morgan or Jeremy Corbyn? And he chose Piers Morgan.
Oh, for fuck's sake, this is a.
So, but
cheese and penises. That was trending for a
pretty
few
much.
days. That was trending in UK Twitter for a few days last year. Hashtag cheese and penises, because all these right-wing morons on the radio, on the TV, if they get Keir Starmer next to them to interview him, all they'll talk about is penises. And you know why? Because that just gets everybody fighting.
Yeah,
because that's the shape of their heads. Is that why?
Oh, you know what it's about. It's that problem we have over here.
Well, the problem, our problems are not dissimilar. There hasn't been a Republican administration since Nixon, I think, that had anything but a remarkably huge increase in the budget deficit. Every single Democratic administration since has reduced the budget deficit. Bill Clinton left office with a surplus. And the deficit ballooned under Bush II.
yeah,
And Obama reduced the budget deficit, and it ballooned. The budget deficit, the U.S. budget deficit increased. The increase in the national debt under Donald Trump's 4 years in office is a quarter of the entire national debt that the U.S. carries right now. And the national debt has actually been going down since. I mean, it's just, but you can't tell our version of your Conservative Party. This may, maybe it's an Anglo-Saxon thing. You can't tell these people that. Look at the numbers. It's a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
No.
Talking of numbers, we need to move on to the next story. Nadim Tahari to pay millions in tax after dispute over family finances. This has been in the story. I don't think this story is going to go anywhere anytime soon. It's been all over social media for the last few days now. And basically, he's been forced to pay millions in tax because he just hasn't been paying it. Anyone else would be in prison.
It. Yeah, if it's the same everywhere. It's the same in your country. If you accidentally don't pay tax, you accidentally don't pay $100 worth of tax, you're going to be in trouble. But these cunts, I think it's £300 million is it no £3 million? Sorry, with this guy, isn't it? Something like that.
Several £1 million, according to the Guardian.
I heard 3 million, and
Mm.
and the story is he's settled that with HMRC, our tax people.
Yes. So how much more could it
so-
be?
Yeah,
We
that
don't
means he's
know.
come to an arrangement with them.
Yeah.
And just for context, this fucker here, Mike will remember this, but he first became famous and well known quite a few years ago, before all the Brexity Johnson shit, because the Conservative MPs in this country, they tend to go into that job because they can claim expenses.
Yeah.
They can make a shit ton of money, a hell of a lot more than their salary, by claiming expenses. And this cunt it came to light. He was reclaiming in expenses the money he'd been paying for the electricity to heat his horse's stables.
Yeah.
We can't afford to heat ourselves, but we have to pay for him to heat his fucking horses.
Yeah.
That's how. That's
You've got to
when we
keep.
first
You've
heard
got
his
to
name.
keep. You've got to keep your horses' asses warm. That's whether they're actual human horses' asses or actual horses' asses.
Yeah. For a second there, I thought you said you've got to keep your horses and asses warm. But it wasn't donkeys, it was just horses.
Just
So
the ponies. Just the ponies, the human asses and the pony asses.
But the article says this: Nadeem Zahawi has agreed to pay several £1 million in tax to the authorities after a dispute over his family's financial affairs, it has been reported. Representatives of the Conservative Party chair are believed to be paying after questions over his use of an offshore company to hold shares in the polling firm YouGov, according to The Sun on Sunday. So he's only paying this because he got caught.
Well, that's usually the case, isn't it?
Yeah. But didn't Boris Becker
he went to
caught?
prison.
Yeah. So he should go to prison, surely. For at least 2 years.
With many things, Twitter never forgets, and so that you can see Zahawi's tweet from 2015 or something, where he's bragging about how the Conservatives are bringing in new laws to cut down on tax evasion.
Yeah.
Yep. What does this gentleman do in government? What's his role?
Hang on, Mike. What day is it?
on.
What day is it? He's had
Thursday.
several jobs in the last few fucking months.
He was the Chancellor of the Exchequer.
What the fuck?
Yeah. But now he's Minister without portfolio. Whatever that means.
He was Chancellor of the Exchequer?
Yeah.
Really? Oh my fucking word.
Yeah, but then again, so was Kwasi Kwarteng. So,
Yeah. The party of fiscal responsibility.
That fucking Jesus Christ. If my computer was working, I would have liked to have done a special on the Truss Kwarteng debacle, because wow, what the fuck.
Nerdy's saying we are bringing in laws against tax evasion, and I've been fully briefed on how to avoid. And Monica is saying interesting topics. I see all that you are discussing also exists in Africa, but I guess it's happening everywhere. Monica's from Zimbabwe, by the way.
Oh, so it's unlikely that she does actually have a nice hat then, because I don't think that they need a hat in Africa, do they?
I don't think so.
I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Monica, do you have a nice hat? This is important. Fuck all this politics shit.
Oh, I don't know. You're looking. All right, nice hats. We're going into the nice hat department here. I guess we'll have to go with
There
the
you
nice
go.
hat. There we go.
Now we can
Got the
take a
nice hat
serious
going.
thing.
With
Yeah.
great power comes great responsibility, says Nerdy.
Yeah.
That is a nice hat.
Zahari was also in charge of the vaccine things for a while, wasn't he?
He was,
can't
yeah.
remember what his job actually was, but he's been Chancellor of the Exchequer. But that was only for a few days, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
I think.
Yeah.
It's difficult to keep up because
It is. It
we
is.
keep
Yeah.
getting new prime
Yeah,
ministers and all that fucking stuff.
The
Yeah,
one true constant in British politics, the lettuce.
I think
Yeah.
I think what it was, Boris Johnson made him Chancellor, and then a few hours later he turned around and said, actually, Boris, I think you should resign.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh God, I'd forgotten all about that fucking shit. Wow. And that was only last year.
Yeah.
It's only a few months ago.
Yeah. Minister for the Promotion of Tax Evasion.
Mm.
So, in my opinion, he should get the book thrown at him. But of course, he won't.
No. He's a big arse licker.
Did you say he was the minister for promoting tax evasion?
Yeah. Nerdy
He is
Road
now.
said the Minister for Promotion of Tax Evasion.
Yeah, well, that's what he was doing. He was promoting tax evasion.
Purple, you're aware of what the office of the Chancellor of the Exchequer is, right?
Actually, no, I'm
Okay.
not familiar with
The
it.
Chancellor of the Exchequer is equivalent to our Secretary of the Treasury. In other words, the guy was responsible for the fucking bank. He was the head of the head of the IRS. It's like, wait a minute. You did what?
This is a good point from Nerdy. People in positions of power should be held to a higher standard. But
well, this is a thing that they did used to be, because before the Johnson years, what is happening now would have been just unheard of. A lot of the shit that they're doing, and this is thanks to Trump, because Trump has basically broken the world. We've now got there are no rules anymore. The Prime Minister himself can stand at the dispatch box in the House of Commons and lie his arse off. Before Johnson, that was a big no-no.
Yeah.
You could not do that. But now our lot have learned from your lot. Just keep lying.
Yeah.
It's been this symbiotic. It's you might call it this special relationship. I don't know.
It
We
is.
fuck each
That's
other
what it
way
is.
altogether too much, because we do the most outrageous things. Then you do it, but you do it one time. It's much better. And then it was like, oh well, we're not getting very far with our bigotry stuff. Let's ask the Brits to see if they push a few bigoted memes, and then we'll learn how to do it even better over here. And it's over the course, literally. I think you're right. It's the Trump era. Since 2016, it's been this ratcheting, corruption. Oh, not corrupt enough. Let's try this. Okay, we'll try that. And it's fueled by conservative money on both sides of the pond.
Yeah.
Like it's this internecine bullshit. Of course you do it better. You're British. Or you do it more politely.
Yes.
Or you have up until now.
But I think the reason Rishi Sunak won't get rid of people like Braverman and Zawahiri is because his job is hanging by a thread. They're already plotting to bring back Boris, and he wants to keep his backbenchers happy. And so he can't get rid of them.
Yeah, and this is the vicious circle that we're stuck in, because whoever's in charge of the Conservative Party, their leader, by default becomes, I almost said king, I guess I was right, becomes prime minister. So the last two prime ministers, we haven't voted for them. They just are given to us.
Yeah.
And they have to please, as Mike said, the backbenchers. and they consist of these awful, horrendous, evil groups like the ERG, etc., who are very, very right wing. The polite word would be libertarian. I call them lying cunts. And whoever is in charge, the prime minister, has to keep those people happy. If he doesn't, if the ERG had, I think, 80 members, and if you don't keep them happy, they will not vote with you. So you've got to appease them.
Closest thing in American politics to that sort of thing was what happened in our House of Representatives, was who's going to be the Speaker of the House. That's the closest equivalent that Americans will ever see to a parliamentary system, the kind of parliamentary system that you have, because you're effectively voting for the leader of your party in the House.
Yeah.
And House of Representatives has way more power in your country than the House of Representatives does in ours. And the House of Representatives can be a real major pain in the ass in U.S. governance, because every single funding bill has to originate in the House. You have to get a funding bill through the House in order for anything to become law.
Yeah.
That's where it starts. So it's kind of a big deal. But what you saw in the recent debacle in American politics in the House of Representatives was the deal making that the now Speaker McCarthy had to go through to get that, required that the loonies be put in charge of the asylum, with the loonies within his own party. So what we have now is a smaller group of our conservatives, our Republicans, the lunatics, the hard right people have basically taken over, because the center right guy, ostensibly center right guy, who craved power so much, he gave it away, and now they're happy to say, okay, we can Roger you all the way to Sunday.
And
they're gonna do it.
And
and you look at what perjury Traitor Green has been allowed to be a part of now, what's it called, the Homeland thingamajig.
Yeah, Homeland Security.
She's now the head of Homeland Security, and that's scary as hell.
She's on the Homeland Security Committee. Yeah, like what?
This is a nut job who craves attention by spewing conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
and of course, she doesn't believe that airplanes, 9/11, all that shit. And look what they give her as a job. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, her biggest concern is Jewish space lasers. So at least we won't have those things to worry about.
For about 2 years, she had claimed that the Holocaust never happened until somebody finally made her go to a Holocaust museum and learn about it.
Yeah. That crazy times. Crazy. Anyway, next story. We're talking about Boris Johnson trying to make a comeback. He's back in the news for all the wrong reasons.
No.
Boris Johnson receives biggest donation to an MP on record after single contribution of £1 million. The money from Brexiteer and crypto investor Christopher Harborne suggests the former Prime Minister has no intention of stepping down from politics anytime soon.
No, of course he won't, because that's his personal gravy train. That guy he exists off people giving him their money.
Yeah.
He doesn't work. Yep. He's never had a job in his life, a real one. And
of course not.
Crypto is a totally real thing, so this is a very cautious deal.
No, he seems to be a somewhat more intelligent version of Trump.
Only just.
Well, see, Trump is an idiot. I think he plays an idiot And he plays it well.
Yeah.
He knows how to play it to the cameras.
Yeah. Oh, so, yeah, definitely. You know, he plays the part of the lovable buffoon, but really, he's a danger. He's dangerous.
Yeah.
He's dangerous, but in a different way to the rest of them, because the rest of them have really evil intentions and dreams.
Yeah.
And I'm not exaggerating, because I know what their fucking dreams are. And it terrifies me. It really does. He hasn't got evil intentions for the country. He'll just do anything for money.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
exactly.
all he cares about.
He's a weather vane. You know, he'll go wherever the wind's blowing.
Yeah, as long as he gets a few million out of it, he doesn't care. Brexit being the prime example.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, exactly. And Brexit still isn't done to this day.
And it never, just in case nobody has clocked this yet, it never fucking will be done. It's not a thing. It can't be done.
No.
Yeah.
No. It goes on.
There's no way to make your economy work with this.
No. The article says this: Boris Johnson has received the biggest donation to an MP on record. Oh, I've read that bit. That is 6 times more than the previous record, 150,000 to Michael Gove in 2009, according to data from the Electoral Commission. The 6-figure sum came from Brexiteer and crypto investor Christopher Harborne and could be seen as evidence of a comeback following his ousting from number 10.
Yeah. A lot of the Conservative MPs see him as their sort of, what is the word? Oh, I don't know. He's all, I can't think of the word. He's all they've got, because they know damn well that the lying fucker, a lot of stupid people fell for his nonsense and would vote for him. And that's all they've got.
Yeah.
They either have to appeal to the racists and the bigots and all the ism people, or they have to appeal to the old ladies, no offense, viewers, to the old ladies who live down south, who dream of the 1950s when there were no brown people here, you know.
But there's a we're talking about these groups within the Conservative Party. There's another group led by Priti Patel, and what's his name? Is it David Krudas, who's a big Tory donor?
Oh yeah,
I'm sure I could have got his first name wrong, but I don't know. But anyway, I think they're called something like the Democracy.
Yeah. Is it a really genuine and believable name to describe what they actually want to do?
I don't think so, no. But it's really about getting Boris Johnson back into number 10. That's what it's really about.
See, these groups that we're talking about, Steph, they're not official groups. Literally just a group of usually old men who get together and say, we believe in this nonsense, and if we don't get what we want, we won't vote with you. They're completely of no, what's the word, legitimacy.
Yeah.
Whatsoever.
No. But if I think they genuinely believe if Boris Johnson becomes Prime Minister again, they'll win the next general election. But
they probably will. They're correct, though.
Do you think so?
Oh yeah, absolutely. What?
Yeah. See, I don't. You know, is that a failure of Labour?
No, it really isn't. And I will get into trouble with Mike here because I disagree with him about the whole Labour thing, which is fine because we love each other really. But Labour are in a between a rock and a hard place. There's nothing that they can say that will be correct because we've got the Brexit thing. If you make a stance on that, if you say, yes, it's wonderful, you've lost half the population. If you say it's shit, you've
Yeah.
lost half the population. You cannot win on this subject because the people in this country will literally fight each other with their fists over this stupid fucking thing.
The perfect time for Labour's chances in an election is right now.
Yeah, because they're
Except
20,
nobody's going to call an election right
no, exactly.
now.
They're 20 points in the lead, which is huge. If there were an election, I don't believe in polls. What they will say is, if there were a general election now, Labour would win. I don't think they would, because polls are bullshit. And in the next election, will the Conservatives win? Very probably yes. If Johnson's the captain of the fucking shit ship, they'll definitely win. Because they just will. The Conservatives, they call themselves the most successful political party in the world ever. And it's true because they always get elected. They've been in power for something like 75 of the past 100 years.
Yes,
Because
can't argue with that. That's true.
fuck nuggets keep voting for them. And who is it that votes for them that gets them these wins? It's the fucking poor people.
Yeah.
The working class people who have very shit lives, very shit jobs, and they keep voting for these fuckers because the Daily Mail tells them to.
Yeah. The Daily Mail and the Murdoch press.
I was just about to go there. That guy has done more harm to the planet. Certainly to the English-speaking world. Probably that means to the planet.
I should
than
also
any
do
other
it.
living human being. He is garbage, that guy.
But he only bought. Does he actually own the Daily Mail, Mike?
No, he doesn't. Rothermere.
This isn't a Murdoch thing. Yeah, this isn't a Murdoch thing. This is even more sinister. And again, I'd like to do a special on this because for over 100 years, that vile thing has been indoctrinating, brainwashing intentionally people who haven't got a lot of money. That's why it was invented, the Daily Mail.
My memory is escaping me at the moment. Who was a press baron in the 20s and 30s in your country who was very famous? I can't remember.
I don't know actually, but
similar sort of situation where the press basically was, a little bit fash.
Yeah, but certainly most of, I think the tabloids are definitely, they're owned by 7 millionaires, and so of course they've got their own agenda that they're pushing.
If you leave the Sun out of the equation, because that's a different thing altogether.
Yeah.
But the two newspapers that do all the damage are the Daily Mail, which is for the poor people, and I'm not disparaging anybody's financial situation, but that's what it is. It's to put bullshit into the heads of people who can't necessarily think beyond a headline. And then you've got the Telegraph, which is for people who are not illiterate. So that's a similar thing, but for people who can understand words that have more two syllables in them. And they both pump out the same fucking bullshit. And it's just
I wouldn't leave out the Times of London. The Times of London is horrid.
And here he is again. This is an exclusive from the Mirror. Boris Johnson put £4,445 dinner in New York on government credit card.
Yeah.
And
of course,
that's taxpayers' money.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, he took an entourage of 24 people out for a meal plus booze while attending the United Nations General Assembly on the 21st of September 2021.
You see, if it were just that, that's a nice juicy tidbit. But that's almost chump change in the grander scheme of things. You know, I'd go, yeah,
But-
nice story, but
but
that doesn't outrage me anywhere near as much as it probably should.
No, but it's
Well,
it's
it's
not
just
the
one
most
example,
important.
though.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the most important thing, but if you put all these non-important things together, bearing in mind, at the moment, it happened today, our nurses are on strike.
Yeah.
And these fuckers are saying, we're not even going to talk to you. We can't afford to do this.
Mm.
Mhm.
And yet you've got the
God.
guy who we were talking about earlier, 3 million quid in unpaid fucking taxes, him with his $4,000 dinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the state of the NHS is just sad.
And
It's just fucking sad.
they're all claiming millions of pounds on expenses, and they have subsidised meals in in the Parliament rectory. Rectory?
I don't know why you said rectory.
No, I don't know why. Reflect.
Because they're all assholes. I don't know.
Yeah, you're thinking about rectums again, Mike. You've got to stop doing this.
Yeah.
Monica's going to think you're weird if you keep talking about rectums.
She is. Reflect, but there's another. Anyway, the cafeteria is the word, but there's another word beginning with refractory. I think is the word I was trying to say.
Are you thinking of restaurant, Mike?
No.
Refractory.
Yeah, I know what I mean.
Yeah, sure you do.
But they get their for 30p. Lee was boasting about this. Getting his free dinners in Parliament.
Yeah, he did another thing today, didn't he? If you've seen it.
Yeah.
That guy is an absolute shit. But an MP's salary is about £85,000, which is not too bad. But a lot of the Conservatives go in for it not to help people or for the salary. It's the expenses. Because if they can claim all the expenses that are available to them and get away with it, that £85,000 can be increased by £1 million.
Yeah.
That we are paying.
Oh, that's something that the House Republicans want to do. They and I believe actually did was increase the allowances that they're going to be subsidizing members' housing costs in DC now. So no longer does one sleep in one's office in order to save coin on your $125,000 salary or whatever the hell it is.
That's one of the very.
Now they can buy it. Now they can buy a nice little house in Georgetown and
that's one of the
very
very common ways that they fiddle the system, because if they're an MP who lives wherever in the UK, their job is, well, part of their job is to be in Westminster in London.
Yeah.
And so the argument is they have to have a second flat or whatever in London. They can claim that money back. But a lot of them, they have that flat in London and they rent it out.
Yeah.
And claim.
Cool move. Smooth move.
And for that flat and whatever, they get paid expensive to pay for their electricity and all that shit.
Up until now, our representatives couldn't do that, but now they can, because I guess, well, here's another example. Oh, look at what those guys are doing. We ought to do that.
Yeah. Helen Watley, Mike. You know Helen Watley.
Yeah. She's a walking
I have a
train
solution. Let's just build like a college dorm and each representative gets a free room. That's it.
Yeah. What were we saying about Helen Watley?
Helen Watley is Faversham. She's Faversham.
Yeah.
Faversham in Kent. And she's a useless. I've never understood what the point of her is. I don't know what she does. The only thing I can remember her for, well, she's in trouble now because she was saying some shitty things on TV on Channel 4 to nurses. Yeah. That's how, you're making it up kind of thing. She's got a second residence, Westminster. She only lives 50 miles away, and yet
Right.
she gets expenses having that expensive place in Westminster. Is she renting it out? Probably. And then they all have staff,
Yes.
which could be their wife, their children, and they get paid to give them a salary. So it's all money coming in.
But there was a whole expenses scandal a few years back.
Yeah.
Did we learn nothing from this?
No, we didn't, because the
Apparently
Daily
not.
Mail made sure we didn't. The expensive scandal, that was a huge deal at the time. Now nobody gives a shit because it's just normal.
We never learn anything. This expense scandal is nothing new. It's been going on probably for as long as we've had government.
Yeah.
There's-
So in
one,
the
one
last,
of the things that
in the
people
last
sometimes point out is that George Washington did not take a salary as president of the U.S. However, they usually leave out the fact that on his second day in office, he bought a carriage and 4 horses on his expense account, which would have been the equivalent of about 5 years' salary.
Yeah. Interesting. And
if you remember the original expenses scandal, Mike, that I think that was with Zahawi and his fucking horses, and you also had that Tory MP who'd claimed expenses to build a moat for his ducks, and
I
all that.
remember that. Yeah, that was a good one.
Wasn't there a Labour MP whose husband, she claimed expenses so that her husband could watch porn?
Probably, yeah. That would not surprise me. But we
Well,
didn't learn
like-
anything, because that was a big deal, and I think it started at the end of the Conservative government that we got rid of in 1997, and people were so
Labour
pissed off with
government.
all this.
So
The
the
Conservative
fact-
government that we got rid of in 97.
Oh, 97. All right. Okay. Yeah. The fag end of
Everybody
everyone.
was sick and tired of all the sleaze. That was a big word, wasn't it? Sleaze, expenses, and all that shit.
So
And
are
everybody
you
was
are you
upset.
done? Are you done with BJ at this point?
No, we've got more. We've got more BJ. Boris Johnson's Partygate testimony to be shown in full on live television. Partygate is not going. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Partygate is not going anywhere. He may want it to go away, but it's not. And it's going to be shown live. It's going to be shown live on television. It's all going to
It
come
won't.
out.
No, it won't.
You
I don't think
so?
it will. No, it's not going to go away because it serves him well. He's writing his memoirs, isn't he?
We're going to get to that, yeah.
And he's already been paid more for writing them than the book could ever make in sales. What the fuck is that all about?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, who owns the publishers? So we won't go there.
Right.
Yeah, it's exposure. It's yeah. This is all any publicity is good publicity, even bad publicity.
Yeah.
He's never going to tell the truth about it. That's for sure.
No.
He'll just in his book he'll make a funny story up about it, as he always does, completely fabricated nonsense that he thinks is funny, and lots of Daily Mail readers will go, ha 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 ha. What a funny guy.
There's a podcast called Partygate: The Inside Story, done by ITV News, which is worth listening to if you have access to podcasts. It's a fascinating listen. It's really worth listening to. They proved that he was at these parties. He knew all about them. He was there, and it was all happening in number 10 Downing Street. But it's gonna go. The story's gonna go on, and I'm sure we'll talk about it again. But we've got one more story about him.
And how many COVID cases did they link back to that party?
I can't even remember. But as Stoll rightly says, Boris Johnson writing memoir about his time as Prime Minister. It'll be a memoir like no other, apparently.
Oh yeah, but never mind Winston Churchill. I can't wait to read
That's the thing. Boris
BJ's
Johnson
memoir about his time as Prime Minister. I'm sure it'll be memorable. It's like he's the best thing since Benjamin Disraeli. Yeah, sure he is. Fucking asshole. Really?
That's the thing. He thinks Boris Johnson thinks that he's Churchill personified.
Churchill, Disraeli, Gladstone, and me.
He's the incarnation.
Well, nobody's impressed by Churchill anymore because, defeating the Nazis isn't a popular thing anymore.
Well, Churchill was a right asshole too, but in a lot of respects, I mean, racist prick. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of he defeated the Nazis, but he did a lot of other questionable things too. And, all this all of this is beginning to come out.
You have to remember that after the oh God, I'm British and I'm talking about World War II. Oh fuck. Sorry, everybody. 1966, we won the World Cup. Hoorah, hoorah, hoorah for us. We're the best in
that's
the
pathetic.
World. After the war, I remember it well. After the war, those fuckers were voted out, and we voted in a Labour government because, we won the war, but he was a cunt. And that fucker and his party, they voted 12 times against the creation of the NHS. Because they do not want poor people having free access to free healthcare.
No.
They hated the idea. They wanted insurance-based systems and all this stuff.
And they still do.
On a total aside, I don't. Is Anirban Bevan still warmly regarded in your country?
Most people will not know who he is.
That's why I wanted to ask that because that guy did so much.
Yes,
he did so much to just completely.
Yeah, he did. He did a lot of good stuff, and some of his famous, some of the things he said are very important now quotes.
Yeah.
So and he nailed it on the head with the things he was saying about the Conservatives.
Yeah.
He saw and he said what those people actually are. He was not polite.
Yes.
And some of his stuff now is more pertinent than ever. Some pieces of text that people have said get more important as the years go by, and you realize, shit, they were right.
Yeah.
The thing that we were talking about just after Christmas, Steph, the first they came for, and then they came for, and then they came for me. That's kind of an important bit of text, isn't it? If you understand the fucking, the message behind it.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people don't these days.
No.
Bevan, there are some beautiful quotes that he did that now, in this day and age, they just make perfect sense.
But but Boris Johnson, it looks like he's going to make at least £1 million from this book. So he's going to be okay. But we'll see. Anyway, moving on.
Aren't they putting him into a very safe seat for the next election?
Yeah, he's switching seats, isn't he?
Probably,
he's switching seats.
So that he can't lose.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
What you did? What used to be known as a pocket furrow.
This will make your blood boil.
Hmm.
Rishi Sunak blocks Scotland's gender recognition legislation.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, I
Ah,
heard Phoebe
I
talking
knew
about
there
this
was a
one.
reason. The truth is now out.
Yeah.
It is amazing to me that a nation would want to tear itself apart on this hill, which is it's to everyone aside from those who could access GRC, a gender recognition certificate. It is utterly meaningless because under the Equalities Act, all of the rights that are supposedly under threat are being exercised now by people who do not have a GRC. I mean, that you can't discriminate against trans. You know, the Equalities Act says you can't discriminate against trans people. So you can't. It doesn't matter whether you have recognition. The only things that the recognition that the certificate allows you to do is to get married, to change your birth certificate. Okay, that's one thing. But whoever asked for your birth certificate? It's one of the people on ITV, I think it was, said, well, okay, well, when was the last time you were asked for your birth certificate before you took a piss? It doesn't matter. The only things legally, in terms of records are concerned, is marriage and burial.
Yeah.
You get to be married as the gender you are. You get to be buried as the gender you are. Without, you don't have to go through the indignant. Another clip was you get, if you get married and you don't have a GRC, it's husband and husband.
Yeah.
Or wife and wife, depending on, if it's a trans person and a cis person. It's like, come on. All it's letting people do is have those important moments in their lives or deaths be meaningful.
Yeah.
And for a nation to tear itself apart on this hill,
Exactly.
To go there, I mean, what the actual fuck?
I know what's happening, and it's exactly the same as where we started this conversation. It's othering people because you've got I'm just going to repeat myself. You've got a section of the community who are utterly brainwashed, who get told what to be angry and outraged about.
Yeah.
It can be the most trivial, meaningless shit. But if the Daily Mail tells them to be outraged, they'll be outraged. And that's what the Conservatives use to their advantage. That's what this is about. It's about keeping us all fighting against each other over something. No offense to anybody, but most people are never going to be affected by any of this.
Correct.
Ever.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's the thing that is the thing that is that's the thing that is really fucking disturbing. That something that just simply will never affect. It came down to, I think it was who broke it down, Lord something or other, who's a labor former active person, broke it down, went through the 35 pages of the government's justification for the whole thing, and it basically, potentially, even with the government's own estimates, will only potentially affect 550 people a year, potentially, at the most, in Scotland.
Yeah.
The government the government recognizes self ID as being valid from countries and jurisdictions that allow it.
Yeah.
So if I go to Great Britain, they're going to recognize what's on my birth certificate, what's on my passport. I won't have a problem walking around at the present time. Is that at risk?
Mm.
Are they this is why it's not a local issue. And it's more of a worldwide issue than it might appear. And you all are willing to risk the union over it. It's so
Yes.
stupid.
That's what I was going to say. This is an affront to Scottish democracy, and if anything, it strengthens the SNP's case for Scottish independence, because it's unprecedented that Westminster.
It's never been done before. That you've never invoked Section 35. You've never done it. And you're going to do it over 550 people a year.
Yeah. It's asinine. There's no, but we know why, because it's like we were saying earlier, they have Rishi Sunak has to keep these bigots happy, and so that hopefully they won't lose their votes.
Yeah, but yet again, most of these people who are pretending to be angry about this, before they were told to be angry, they would never have thought about this issue ever. And
well, and even now that they're all angry about it and they're all dancing around that they won, I'm sure that they have no clue what this really means to anyone.
Yeah.
Well,
no,
the Secretary of State was asked, "What do you know? What a GRC does?" And the guy essentially said, "No idea. Got no clue." He just stood there and said, "Well, we've identified. You'll see later on." I watched the entire thing. I'm a nerd. I watched that entire debate in the House of Commons, and it was remarkable. Like, you really are serious. These people are really serious.
Yeah.
And it just blows my mind that you're actually going to do that. Much the same as it blows my mind that there are 135 bills introduced in state legislatures throughout my country in the last 18 days to do essentially the same
kind
thing.
Of stuff
it's ridiculous.
That, regardless of your political affiliation, you should just be pissed off that the government is wasting their time on this when there are so many more important issues.
Yeah.
If you ever want,
they're not just wasting their time. They're literally throwing up they're giving the SNP plenty of ammunition to basically say, "Hey, look,
Yeah.
And the Tories are sitting there saying, "Well, this was a crass play on the part of the SNP." When actually, no, Scotland was actually trying to do the right thing and bring itself into compliance, or bring itself into. They were doing what Theresa May's government pledged to do.
Yeah.
What, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Well, Scotland's already been talking about, maybe we're better off if we just leave England and go back to the European Union.
Yeah. And thing is, this legislation, I'm pretty sure quite a few countries in Europe have passed similar legislation already.
There are over 30 proposed. I don't know how many have passed.
There are over 30 region states, and I believe it's in Europe alone. I think it's 12 states, and it's 12 nations in Europe have passed similar legislation. Belgium, off the top of my head, I can't remember. But I mean, it's remarkable that something as it doesn't redefine anything. All it does is let you get married and let you die. in government records, you will be recorded as the gender you are living your life as. And it's a matter that shouldn't be meaningful to anyone unless they're a bigot, basically.
Yeah. So, but unfortunately, they've got a 70-seat majority.
I think it's not just if you're a bigot, because this, well, you've been watching this stuff, so you've seen how easy it is to divide the people in this nation, and has been since 2016. You make some bullshit up, the Daily Mail prints it, and the Daily Mail is still the biggest read newspaper available. Millions upon millions of people read that fucking shite, and they think it's a newspaper, and so the government they actually do. They think it is news, and the government says whatever, and the Daily Mail prints it, or the Daily Mail invents some crap, and this government repeats it, and all those fucking people. And let's be honest, they all voted for fucking Brexit, and they all think immigrants are invading us, and all this shite. They all think that unemployed people get free houses and flat screen TVs. Would you believe? And all that bullshit. It is so fucking easy. If you wanted to be a dictator, just come into this country and be a fucking dictator. Tell the Daily Mail to print whatever bullshit you want them to print, and half the population will believe it, and they'll fucking vote for you.
And what gets printed on the front page of the Daily Mail, on the Sun, and all the other tabloids gets talked about on BBC News and Sky News.
Right.
As if it's news.
As if it's news. Yeah.
And it really isn't. The issue itself. I mean, you get into why is it effective? It's why this particular issue. That's the thing that's hard to grok if you're at the tip of the spear in any of these things. I mean, if you're a person who is affected.
Yet again, it's because it's an easy target it's an easy group of people to other.
Yeah.
And it's all about fear, just with the same with the asylum seekers or immigrants or whatever. Fear. Get the people scared, tell them they're being invaded, tell them that these people who you've never met in your life and never probably will are here to take something from you or to take over and whatever. So they do it. And again, you have to be a certain age to understand how fucking dangerous that is.
Yeah,
I know. I am that certain age, and I do. I've never ever seen the focus on that aspect of my person be such an issue in my entire life. It's incredibly bizarre to me, and for those of us who've lived a life as a trans person for an extended period of time, most people are fine.
Most people don't actually give a crap.
Most people actually don't. Or if they know you're trans, they'll go, yeah, okay, that's interesting. But how about them? How about them Red Sox?
Yeah,
and it's not. It's not a big part of my life.
No,
except when governments, politicians, preachers go out and start railing against people with characteristics similar to mine. I mean, it blows my mind, and it's just being done for crass, for crass reasons, for power, for money, for this sort of thing, just exploiting that, as you say, fear.
we've got
just
We're-
garbage,
This
really.
has turned into me bitching about the Daily Mail, but I have such a hatred for that thing and the damage that it's done to this country over the past 100 years. And the fact that they target a certain set of people with their bullshit,
Yeah.
that's just insidious to me. And how it works is they've basically got 5 stories that they just constantly regurgitate all the
Yeah.
fucking time. So
Yeah.
it's the immigrants invading us, the gays, the unemployed people, whatever, and then back again.
Harry and
back again, and that's
Meghan.
all they Harry and fucking Meghan, for fuck's sake.
Yes.
Who gives a flying fuck about Harry and Meghan?
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck?
Well, if His Majesty the King had a pair, he'd be the next Charles to have his head on the chopping block by standing up for trans people. That'd be really fucking funny. But Charles ain't the sharpest tool in the kit anyway, so.
Yeah.
When I was listening yesterday to my little radio, as I always do, as you know, Mike,
Yeah.
there was a story yesterday in the whatever newspaper. I'm going to guess it was a Daily Mail. Somebody who's a spokesman about health matters made a gentle comment about people bringing cake into work and how maybe don't do it often. People might eat too much cake. It was not an important fucking issue at all. Yesterday, Ian Dale, LBC, with guests, spent an hour talking about how people were trying to ban cake.
Oh God. Yeah.
And this is what they fucking do. And I tweeted, nobody's trying to ban cake, you fucking grifting fuck. This isn't real.
Yeah. And talking of grifting, this is another exclusive from the Daily Mirror. Tory donors firm paid him £11 million to deliver PPE. Now gets 4.5 million of taxpayer money to destroy it.
Mm-hmm.
What?
But it was found to be useless. So now they're getting paid 4.5 million of taxpayer money to incinerate it, basically.
Well, how did it happen that they were paid to deliver it and it wound up being useless?
Stool, you've got your hand up there.
I'm being a good boy. So back in the COVID days, do you remember those?
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is true.
mean,
It was the government was taken to court over this, and it was found to be true.
Yeah.
The government had a secret, what they called a VIP lane, where their friends would be given contracts to provide PPE equipment and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
They were basically giving their friends millions, tens of millions of pounds, and ignoring all the legitimate people out there, the legitimate business who are shouting, "Hey, we can help with this," because we didn't have enough PPE. They were desperate for it. And it turns out they're giving these contracts to their friends. A lot of the PPE that they acquired because of these dodgy deals were crap. They were it was useless stuff. So this fucker, and he's not the only one, got paid a lot of money to provide PPE. Turns out it's crap, useless, unusable. He now gets paid a shit ton more money to fucking burn it.
Yes, exactly.
But I haven't seen the second part of that episode with any of the people who did similarly dodgy deals over here. But yeah, the similarly dodgy deals did go on over here. It's just grim.
They had a special secret. It was supposed to be secret, but we found out about it. As I said, they got taken to court. That's happened quite a lot. This lot have been taken to court, the Supreme Court, on quite a few occasions. They've lost, and they've basically been told, what you're doing now is unlawful, stop doing it. And so they hate judges and courts.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, you got to understand why this is so serious, because after one of these events where the government were taken to court, this was the prorogation thing, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was the most anti-democratic thing that's ever happened in this country, by the way. I need to do a special on that. The Daily Mail, I think it was, the day after the government had been slapped down and said, this is illegal, fucking stop doing it. The Daily Mail, front page, big headline, enemies of the people, and it printed the pictures of the 3 judges with their fucking names.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Come on, history.
So now there's
yeah.
there's this rhetoric that these people are lefty lawyers, commie judges.
Yeah, and that's the narrative that they like to tell their people, that it's the lefties, doing all these things. Got to understand and remember, Raab, I don't know what Dominic Raab is doing these days. He hates rights. He hates the fact that we have rights. He started writing a new British Bill of Rights, for fuck's sake. That's scary shit.
Yeah.
And what is Mog now bragging about?
He wants to burn all the EU, all the laws
Burn all the EU laws
that were left
just
over.
literally like that with a pen. 4,000, they reckon. Nobody actually knows how many, because it's a shitload, and they're not even EU laws; they're British laws.
Yes,
These cunts are fucking evil, and that's going to happen. That's not something that could happen. That's a thing that that is going to happen. The cunts voted for this in 2019. They were interviewing a lady, Conservative MP, the other day. She'd voted in favour of this, getting rid of all the rights things, but she didn't know she'd voted for it.
Yeah.
Because they all just go, yep. Scary shit. I don't, I'm not exaggerating. This is a very, very dangerous place at the moment.
No.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about rights, this is all the rights. So and the regulations, they hate regulations. So all the things that protect us as consumers or employees or whatever, food hygiene, animal welfare, whatever, they want it all fucking gone.
Yeah.
Under the
and
lie
when it's gone,
that these when it's gone, they say they're going to replace them with better ones. Yeah, sure you are.
Yeah,
but
all in the name of sovereignty.
They won't do. A, they won't do, and B, even if they do, in the interim, your trading partners will say, "You people are fucking crazy. We're gonna, So it's going to be Brexit amplified.
This is the whole reason, as I've been saying for 7 years. Brexit was only for one reason alone, despite what the lies that they've told. It was so that we didn't have to have regulatory alignment with the EU. They hate regulations. There is only one way to stop having regulatory alignment with the EU, and that's to leave the EU in the hardest fashion possible, which means you cannot do any trade with them. Ever.
Yeah.
Well,
Which
and why is
great
it always
for Great
that?
Britain, is it?
Why is it always that they're so eager to cancel all the regulations now, but they won't give anybody a look at the new plan that they're going to replace it with eventually?
So Raab is a very dangerous fucker, and I really don't know what he's doing these days. If he's even got a job, I don't know. But he started waxing bullshit about this many, many years ago. I've seen him. I've seen him address an audience. I think when Labour were in power, maybe, I don't know. And he's got some really, really terrifying ideas, which would not have meant anything because he's just an idiot with stupid Nazi-like ideas. But these cunts got elected, and he gets given one of the most powerful jobs in the country, and he can now make the laws that he's dreamt about all his life. Scary shit. Very, very fucking scary.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got one more story. One more. It's kind of, and finally, to kind of lighten the mood, as it were. This is from Central Bylines. Are Conservative MPs greenwashing their hands of their own party? Conservative MP for High Peak, Robert Largan, has found himself at the centre of a social media storm accused of greenwashing his image. And so there's a picture there of his pamphlet that he sent through letterboxes. And people have noticed nowhere on this pamphlet does he say that he's a Conservative MP.
That's a trick they do now.
Yeah, and he's made it look as much like the Green Party's pamphlets as possible.
I've seen that happening here too. That it used to be that all the Republican stuff came, it was all in red, all the Democrat stuff was in blue.
Yeah.
And for the midterm election, everything I was getting was in either green or yellow, and nowhere on it did it identify which party the candidate was for.
Yeah, it's a thing they've been doing for a while. They did it in the last local elections. People noticed this. They were making the leaflets look like the Green Party or even the Labour Party.
Yeah.
Look at them on Twitter. A lot of them no longer say Conservative MP.
No.
They just say MP.
Yeah.
Because that will trick us.
Yeah. Yeah.
We will never catch on to that little ruse.
So, yeah, it seems to be an interesting trend that the certain MPs, mainly in marginal seats where they could be in danger of losing their seats at the next election, they seem to want to distance themselves from the Conservative Party, because hopefully in doing so they'll hold on to their seats. But it's not going to work because people are not as stupid as they seem to think that they are, and they've been called out.
It's like, yeah, there's not enough fanatical idiots in my district. How do I get a couple of votes from the other side?
Yes. Yeah, this is it. But we'll see. We'll see if this strategy works. It may do, it may not, but watch this space.
I just want to see a latter day Gilbert and Sullivan of all the bullshit that's going on here. That's just, that level of satire of British government and British politics. But I don't know if anybody's even that daring.
I don't know. Do you have a British equivalent to Stephen Colbert now?
I'm not sure if we do. Not really. There's a few people who are doing doing their best to satirize the government, and I think that is growing. But
well, I recognize that it's gotten to be a really tough job for comedians because you can't come up with shit that sounds more bizarre than what the parties are actually pushing themselves.
Yeah, the satire writes itself, as I keep saying, and it's it's just going to get worse. But
Jeremy Clarkson, I've just been thinking, which important stories are you going to miss out this week? And you missed out Jeremy Clarkson and seatbelts.
I didn't want to give him oxygen, but okay.
Because I'm not going to do the story, but they've all been told that he's been cancelled. So cancelling everybody.
He cancelled himself.
Well, he didn't cancel. Stop saying cancelling. It's such a stupid thing. It just isn't a thing. It isn't a thing. He upset his employers, and it's written in his fucking contract. Bring our name into disrepute, you're fucking away. That applies to all of us. Nobody's being cancelled. But seatbelts, I guess seatbelts was a bit too not too long ago for your
This is Rishi Sunak was filmed himself driving without with a seatbelt, with a. Come on, Rishi. Clunk, click every fucking trip.
Oh, hang on a minute, Mike. Now we know who used to say that slogan. Let's not do that.
Oh, yeah. We had this discussion before, see?
Yes. And I got in trouble for mentioning that person's name at Christmas. I broke people's Christmas day because I mentioned his name.
Oh dear. But on that
But
bombshell,
if you do, just before you do, quickly, if you do
Okay.
see the video, anybody who hasn't, he's not wearing his seatbelt. So the police have said they're going to look into it, which means fuck all. We know
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
He's basically doing a TikTok type 30-second thing saying how he's going to fix the economy.
Yeah.
Utter bullshit. Listen how he talks to the viewers, because he's addressing this to the Conservative voters, basically. Listen how he talks to them, hence how he's treating them, because he talks to the people as if he's presenting a television program on children's television.
Yeah.
Talks
That's
to them
right.
like
Yeah.
the fucking idiots.
Yeah. He's so condescending.
He's very.
Yeah. Very condescending.
And we could probably demonstrate that through the medium of coffee cups, Mike.
Really?
You've not seen that one?
No, I haven't actually. What are you alluding to?
Jeremy Hunt.
Oh, yes.
He's
yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
He's explaining to the people about how inflation works.
Yeah.
And the people are stupid, don't forget. So they spent a lot of fucking money making this video. And he explains how they're going to solve inflation and what inflation is with some coffee cups. Here's a cup of coffee. Your coffee used to cost this much. Here's another cup. Children's television.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, on that bombshell, we're going to say good night. And thanks to Purple Store and Stephanie for joining me this evening, and thanks to everyone in the side chat, and to everyone else who's been watching. And do subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Can I just leave one message to the Daily Mail readers, please?
Okay.
Just because inflation is coming down, it doesn't mean that the prices are coming down.
Correct.
That's not how inflation works.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.